Okay, so back what I was saying about Judge Patty Maginnis. So, Judge Patty Maginnis signed a protective order when I was first incarcerated. I was incarcerated September 18, 2018. I didn't go to court until October 2018. I believe it was October 23rd, I believe. And she signed a protective order to say that if I bonded out, that I could not go back to my apartment. And then had all these stipulations for me to get an ankle monitor, for me to pay the money, for me to show up to some class. And God said, I set my people completely free. I don't leave my people in bondage. And a bond is bondage. You know, you trying to leave me as a slave to be like, oh, she got to do this, she got to do that, she got to do this, she got to pay us this, she got to pay us that. You know, we got to track her and do it. No. And then to say that I couldn't go back to my own house. So that was also a setup to leave me to have to go up in people's house that was going to be poisoning me, trying to provoke me, trying to fight, trying to say I was a prostitute, you know, trying to sex traffic me, you know. So all of this has been traps. Traps. First of all, God said, I asked God, I said, Lord, please. I was like, Father God, I was like, please, who is doing this to me? When I was having the night visitations, and I prayed to God to reveal who they is, and also let me walk in the power of Christ and break their power. He revealed the H-E-B grocery store that they was poisoning me. I mean, something about the distribution trucks. He didn't necessarily say they was poisoning me, but I know that they was doing stuff. I know something was wrong with my food and stuff. But anyway, so he revealed to me about the distribution trucks. But the main thing that I want to stay focused on right now is the part about Patty Maginnis signing that protective order. The Most High showed me the protective order, and he showed it like janky. I don't know if y'all ever seen Bebe's Kids, like how, you know, we don't die, we multiply. You know how the cartoon looked, how it was kind of drawn up all janky. That's how he showed the protective order, like something out Bebe's Kids. Like, you know, it was drawn up so janky. And the Lord showed it like this janky protective order. I break the power of it. Because the Most High was like, how you going to sit here and talk about, oh, you going to protect Cynthia, and you going to protect his twin. And I was like, what twin, or what twins, or what you know, because a lot of times they say my baby look just like his daddy, and they call them twins. I don't know, so I'm thinking maybe he got somebody pregnant. I don't know. And maybe she got babies on the way. I don't know what's going on in his life. We have not spoken. You know, we don't speak, you know. So, and then he was like, something about, you know, so I figured my son, you know what I'm saying? Because my son, they say my son looked like his twin or whatever. But, he was like, they talking about keeping, basically he was saying that they were saying I had to stay away from my son, that I had to stay away from my son. He was like, they were talking about, she got to stay away from him and Austin body. But God said, oh, she got to stay away from Cynthia's body. And she got to stay away from Joseph's old body. Because he wasn't saying like, because the protective order is to so-called protect somebody from bodily harm. And God was saying Andrea is not harming anybody. But you talking about, Andrea got to stay away from Cynthia O'Vera body. Because she put that I had to stay away from Cynthia, Joseph, Austin, and my child. So God was like, oh, okay, so you giving, she writing a protective order that's janky. It's a janky protective order talking about Andrea got to stay away from Cynthia's body. Andrea got to stay away from Joseph's body. Andrea got to stay away from Austin's body. Andrea got to stay away from her son's body. But everybody over there abusing Andrea's body. He was attacking her in her kitchen, where it's knives and all of that stuff around. What you mean Andrea got to stay away from your body? Andrea got to stay away from Cynthia's body. Andrea got to stay away from Joseph's body. Andrea got to stay away from Austin's body. Andrea got to stay away from her son's body. When he over there beating on her. And that's her house. And you going to give him her house. Saying that Austin was going to be in Andrea's apartment, and if Andrea bonded out, she couldn't go there because Austin was going to be in her place. And he just got out of prison 8 weeks before the shooting for assault, and was deemed a threat to public safety and was denied parole. Several charges for assault and violence. And Andrea was calling the police on him in the house, And someone called in the streets and in the restaurant where he was attacking her. They called the police. And she called the police several times throughout the time period from the 8-week time period that he was released from prison, trying to get him removed from the home. She didn't want him in the house. That's what God said. And he said he going. He going to jail. For this. Ain't no it's over. It ain't over. Not when you still plotting on my pregnancy. Not when you still trying to kill me and murder me and keep me from my child and then trying to have me outside and be trying to sex traffic me. It ain't over. So, he was saying that, he going to jail. And he was saying that that's a janky protective order. And he broke the power of it. And they actually did lift the protective order after 60 days. But they kept me in the jail and did not drop the charges. So they kept me in the jail for 10 months poisoning me while pregnant. And the baby didn't die. So they kept me in there poisoning me for 10 months. And then decided that they was going to release me after my apartment. I couldn't even go back to my apartment after 10 months. So they purposely made me lose my place and then had me out on the streets and then set it up for people to either take me in their house and then try to poison me or fight me or provoke me or try to give me drugs or sex traffic me or have me outside. To say like, oh, she don't even have a place for her baby. She don't even got nowhere. So this was all a setup. Another thing that God said was that no lawyer will represent me. That he was saying that the white lawyers was racist as hell. That they was just racist. And he showed the American flag. And he showed they are racist. They won't represent Andrea because she's not guilty. And they racist. And then he was saying that the black women who was lawyers were hiding from me. That they would not represent me because they were afraid to represent me because they know how wicked this country really is. And they didn't want to be killed or harmed because they knew I wasn't guilty and they know that it's wrong what they doing to me. So they just hide it. And God was like, you gonna represent me. He said, someone gonna represent me. Because I'm not guilty. And this done went too far. So, that was what happened with Patty Imaginist as far as my place. Trying to get an abusive man my place. When I had already asked to have him removed from my home. And then there was a witness with him attacking me. And they was trying to get the witness to change his statement. And my lawyer actually came to me with a story that was completely different from what actually happened, from what investigator Jim McDougal went and interviewed him and said, you got a really good witness. This probably won't need to go to trial. He said this was the fault of the Conroe police. And he was shaking. And a police officer was back in the back. And he was saying stuff like a little skit. And I believe it was intimidating Jim McDougal. So, that's when they drugged me after that. After my investigator found out they drugged me with some sort of psychedelic to try to make me go crazy in the cell and then try to call me a mental patient. And then they was doing all kind of night visitations and day visitations, satanic witchcraft to try to make me go crazy. But I had Jesus Christ. So, I made it to my baby's court date when they reset it. And I told Jakimba just to take me out there to Conroe and just drop me off. I was like, just take me out there to Conroe and just drop me off. And because God had told me that it would be a murder scene if I stayed because Travis had just pulled a gun out on me the night before the custody hearing. And he had the gun to my head and it was like a real scary kind of gun, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like one of them regular little small guns you see now. It was a real scary kind of gun. And I didn't know if he was gonna blow my head off or not, but he was like, you're going to have these people think I'm over here hurting you. And I was crying about my son. I was screaming to God. I was like, Jehovah! Because all this stuff that they doing is very wicked. You know what I'm saying? Keeping my son from me. And God was like, Cynthia O'Vera was wrong for trying to keep my son from me or whatever. So I went back to Conroe and they just dropped me off at Reverend Storehouse. Jakimba and Jakiba just dropped me off at Reverend Storehouse. And when they dropped me off, but I went into labor when I was at Jakiba's house. and I was throwing up and stuff, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and they lied and said that I had a virus. I don't know, a bacteria virus. I don't know what they were saying, but really, I was in labor. And they stopped it and gave me a bottle of pills and told me to take the bottle of pills, and I had went to the hospital in Chambers County, and they lied to me too and said that I was not pregnant. He said he took a piss test, and then the lady had came in there, or this white woman who was blind, and she told me, she was like, I think she was trying to be symbolic, because she was like, oh, I had a bacteria. She was like, I had a urinary tract infection when I was pregnant. And then she left. So, it's a lot of people that know what's going on, and they've been trying to tell me. I don't know if that's what she was trying to tell me or not, or if she was just trying to be a smart ass. But they said they needed to keep me for observation, and they kept me in the hospital. And then they was putting stuff like IVs in my arms and had me there, and I just kept throwing up, and I couldn't eat. I couldn't keep nothing down. Every time I tried to eat, I started throwing up, like, and I go throw up, and they were telling me that I had a virus or something. But I know now, like, and then I was having pains and stuff, and I was falling all out on the floor, and I know that I was in labor. So, basically they let me leave and gave me the bottle of pills, and I was still kind of throwing up when I had got back to their house. And I mean, I could have been sick from something, you know what I'm saying? But the fact is, they still lied. They said that I wasn't pregnant. And I know that a woman could probably get sick for holding a baby that long. I don't know. So Jakiba was saying that he was sick first or whatever and throwing up. But honestly, I think I really know why he was throwing up. I think he was just disgusted by what they was doing to me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why he started throwing up. Because they had him over there trying to have sex with me and doing all that stuff. And I think it just made him sick. Like, I know her situation. I know she was pregnant, and he was throwing up. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it was. And Travis, he was throwing up. No, he was. He they was like getting sick, like, but it wasn't like they was sick like I was sick. It was almost like they was sick with what was happening, and then he was shaking in the middle of the night, and he was saying that he had killed people, and it was haunting him, and he was sweating, and then he kept holding the gun to me, and it was like he didn't want to do it, like somebody had put him up to it, and he didn't really want to do it. And I think that was what was making them behave the way that they were behaving, because they knew that I was a good person, and that I really was innocent, and that I wanted my son. And I think that's what was causing them to behave that way. And then there are some wicked things that I believe was haunting them as well. So I left, and I went to Reverend Stewart. They dropped me off at Reverend Stewart's house, because they were telling me they wouldn't take me to court. And I was like, I'm not going to be around no group of people where you got a card talking about you will take me to work to pay your rent, and then still trying to kick me out after you take all my money. So they was trying to take my money for the rent, and then still tell me that I had to leave by a certain time. So you wanted to take all my money while I was there, and then tell me to leave. So this was all it said. I had me out on the streets like some prostitute. So I had grabbed all my stuff, and then I told Travis that I was gonna come back after the court date, but I lied. So I didn't come back. I went to Reverend Stewart's house, and I got dropped off at Reverend Stewart's house, and I went to the court date. Now this time there was nobody in the courtroom except for Judge Tracy Gilbert, one or two court representatives, the same white woman that was typing up everything. I don't know if she typing up the truth or not, because at this point I believe she was probably typing up lies. Because if she was typing up the truth about what was going on in that courtroom, ain't no way that I would still be working for that department. I would have quit. I would have been like, y'all did all this to this black lady, and I'm sitting over here looking at the evidence, typing it up. I'm quitting. Because that's how much they did. And she was right there. She was blonde. And she was the one typing it up. When I interrogated Austin, when I cross-examined Austin and I won that case, she was there typing. When Judge Tracy brought me up in there and they was lying, talking about they told me about some parenting class. And then I had called the lady because I couldn't go to the parenting class because nobody would take me. People were saying they couldn't take me and I didn't have the money. So I called the courthouse, and I had got it on my video on my laptop, and I was talking to her, and I was like, ma'am, I was like, is there any way you could let Judge Tracy Gilbert know, that I was not able to take the class? And this was before the court date. Because he had ordered me to he had reset the hearing and ordered me to take the class before the hearing. I didn't have no time to plan for it or anything. And then they was over there talking about they wouldn't give me a ride across town. And I'm over there pregnant and getting sick and all of this crap. So, I was like, I wasn't able to take the class. And the lady was like, okay, but I was like, is there anything that you can do to try to help me? She was like, no, there's nothing I can do. I was like, first of all, I was like, y'all do know that he was raping me and hitting me while I was pregnant, right? And then she was like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. I'll let him know, whatever. So then when I got to the courtroom, they lied, and she said that I never called. The court representatives, Judge Tracy, lied and said that I never called. He said I never called and told them that I could not take the parenting class. I told him I called your staff personally, and I told them people that I couldn't come. And I told the woman personally on the phone, I said he was raping me and hitting me. I need you to let Judge Tracy know I cannot take the class, but I can't believe y'all sitting over here trying to take a woman through this, and he was raping me. And y'all got my child, and y'all ain't returned my baby. And he was hitting me, and I'm pregnant. And she was ruthless as hell. But she said she'll tell him. And then when I got there, he claimed that I lied and that I never told his staff that I couldn't take the class. He was in there telling me, oh, no, you didn't ever call, and because they would have told me. And I was like, okay, well then, I talked to the staff members, and they were sitting there lying. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I spoke to somebody else. But I called, and I told them, and I had the video. Because I had to record me having the conversation with this white woman, because that's how much they've been lying. That's how much they've been lying about everything. I don't know if I have it anymore because it was on my laptop, and I had to pawn my laptop, but I got a whole bunch of other stuff. And so, that's the whole point of everybody wanting to get rid of my body and try to incarcerate me somewhere. Trying to have me in the mental facility that I said was kind of like a hospital. And then people poisoning and bringing in the tampered food. And then trying to starve me and stuff. And messing with my camera. And then calling themselves not liking my videos while I'm over here crying out for my life. So, and this is why I say yes, my family is involved too. So, Jesus, Lord Jesus, because I done got rid of my cigarettes and everything, and this is so stressful that it make me want a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any cigarettes. Like, I don't have anything. I want a cigarette because this is very evil. It's very wicked. So basically, Judge Tracy didn't have anybody in the courtroom, so all the other times there was people in the courtroom watching, and I know they was watching to see how the trial would go and to see what I would say, to set up a custody hearing instead of the actual criminal charges. And there was a whole bunch of white people in there, and I knew it was a setup. They was all trying to act like they was in there for child stuff, but they really was in there to try to see what I had evidence I would say and how I would cross-examine it, and they knew she not guilty, you know what I'm saying? So they set up and tried to murder me and my kids, like, and my child, like, instead of just coming out with the truth. And this day on the trial hearing, all of a sudden all these people was there. It's nobody out there now. Nobody came. It was nobody out there. Nobody wanted to take me to the hearing, and nobody wanted to go with me. My family didn't show up with me. Because they knew y'all need to give my sister her child. And they was involved with trying to keep my child away from me and trying to have me killed.